Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. Tom Downey here. We're breaking down the latest roster move the Cowboys making just before the first preseason game of the season. We'll break it down. We will also be live tomorrow night for that preseason game. Make sure you are subscribed. Hit that sub button for me right now, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. Second video of the day. We put out a preseason preview earlier. Now we're breaking down a familiar face returning to the Dallas Cowboys. Running back Malik Davis was kind of a surprise appearance at Cowboys training camp today. Turns out he is actually rejoining the team on, the standard one-year deal, no guaranteed money, blah, blah, blah. To make room for Malik Davis as the Cowboys battle injuries in the backfield right now, Robert Jones' season is actually over. He was set to miss 2 to 3 weeks with a broken bone in his neck. I hadn't heard anything to indicate that it was worse than that, but putting Jones on IR does end his season. Much like they did with Paris Campbell, Matt Waletzko, there is the possibility the Cowboys work out an injury settlement, but it's a little bit different because a lot of his money was actually already guaranteed, so he just might actually stay on IR for the entire season. But I think the big news is Davis making his way back to the Cowboys organization. If you recall, he had been cut by the Cowboys just after the NFL draft. He had yet to find a new team. The Cowboys battling injuries in the backfield. Deuce Vaughn is working his way back. He's been more involved today, which is a good sign. Jaydon Blue suffering a bone bruise in his foot, and he's not going to play. That's the update in tomorrow's preseason game. Miles Sanders remains out. Javonte Williams is healthy, but he's not going to play that much. So that running back room went from good competition to, how are we going to survive the first preseason game and maybe the second preseason game too. So injuries aplenty for this Cowboys team in general has necessitated some back of the roster help us survive move. So Malik Davis making his way back to the Cowboys organization. What's your one-word reaction to Davis returning to the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. One word and one word only to Malik Davis returning as a member of the Dallas Cowboys. That's the pinned comment, by the way, if you haven't already. Davis last played a real game for the Cowboys in 2023. Of note, that was essentially all. In fact, it was all special teams. He briefly got some run back in 2022. He had 38 carries, 161 yards, 1 touchdown. Also had 6 catches for 63 yards. Since then, he's never really gotten a chance to get involved with the Cowboys. And remember, the majority of that work kind of came later in the season. He had 39 yards against the Titans. The touchdown came against the Colts in a blowout in garbage time, but he was a bit more involved in the Tennessee game back in that 2022 campaign. Was reported frustration with his role and lack of playing time, and the playoff disaster class was a factor, and he allegedly was benched. But clearly whatever the issue was, the teams got past because they brought him back several times now. Another stint now for Malik Davis, who was an undrafted free agent out of Florida originally. The running back room very clearly has question marks. I don't know how much, if any, we're going to see of Javonte Williams in this preseason game tomorrow night. I think his role is pretty secured. Miles Sanders is injured. He is not going to play. Jaydon Blue is injured. He is not going to play. That leaves Phil Mafah to get some playing time. Fingers crossed, we get to see my boy Deuce Vaughn be involved. He's coming back from injury. He's been a little bit more involved today. He's kind of clearly I think they've done a rapid fire ramp up, so to speak, to kind of get some things going on the Deuce Vaughn side. I would not be surprised at all if we see a kind of low-key tremendous amount of Hunter Luepke involved. Deuce Vaughn did get some team drill stuff today. They're in shells, so it's not really a real practice, and I don't think shells are a great environment to truly evaluate backs, but I wouldn't be shocked if Luepke got involved a decent amount, but he's also going to make the team, so that's going to cover you for maybe a quarter, maybe a half, if that. They might give him a decent amount of run, but he's an important part of the offense. So just the sheer depth in the running back room was not there. They were a bit worried about being able to survive because by the time the second, third quarter gets going, it'll probably just be Deuce Vaughn and Phil Mafah. I think they wanted a third potentially, if not for this game, for practices in the next couple days, and I don't think it means anything about the Jaydon Blue injury. Again, the reporting has all been he's not going to miss any major time, but the bone bruise is going to take some time to heal. I think it is noteworthy and probably not a good thing overall for the running back room. You have to feel like you need to go get Malik Davis, but you're down 2 guys right now. You were flirting essentially with 5 guys in the first place, 5.5 if you want to count Luepke, but that becomes 2 in the preseason. So I get why they felt the need to kind of shuffle the roster. We'll break down what this means for the offensive line and for Robert Jones in just a second, but overall, what is your concern level in the running back room? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. 1 to 10 is your scale. Let's go to Robert Jones then here. Update on this front. So his season's over. Now, there are rules and ways you can skirt around this, but you can essentially have an injury settlement where you can release a player from IR. As I understand it, you are able to then re-sign those players, but whatever that injury settlement timeline is, you have to wait to re-sign them from that point. So if it's let's say it's a 3-month injury settlement, you have to wait 3 months to re-sign them. Kind of defeats the purpose. Oftentimes you see guys who are like, he's going to miss 2 weeks. They'll go, but he's close. They'll do the injury, release him, let him go get a new destination. So I don't know what the future holds for Jones now. It was allegedly a 2 to 3 month injury with a broken bone in his neck. So you could have carried him through roster cuts, or not even through roster cuts, put him on IR to begin the season. Cowboys kind of pulling that plug now. Maybe they got more negative feedback on the injury. I don't want to speculate too much, but I think that is a potential option here. The Cowboys have shuffled the back of the roster. They've had injuries. Guys have been nicked up. They've had to do this because it's been such an injury-plagued camp. So now the offensive line, you're going to have Guyton on this team, but he's, let's call him questionable for week 1. Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Booker, Terrence Steele are all going to be on this roster. Nathan Thomas is in line to be the next left tackle, but let's see how he fares against the Rams in the preseason game. TJ Bass, I think, has a chance to get some more playing time with Jones out. Brock Hoffman is going to be the team at center. That leaves Sadiq Charles, Takeem Adenijai, Jaron Christian, Asim Richards, Lyle Collins, Johnny Cornelius, all fighting for a spot. Dakoda Shepley is going to miss time with a high ankle sprain, so you've got players along this offensive line. The depth the Cowboys have, I think, with maybe they like what they've seen from someone like a Charles or an Adenijai or even a Lyle Collins early on. It's okay, we're going to be okay. We don't have to worry about bringing back Jones after the first 7 weeks of the season. At this point, let's just shut him down, let him get fully healthy, and ride with the other offensive linemen that we have. That'll do it for us today. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed. We will have another preseason preview teaser. It is going to have Jaydon Blue in there. I filmed it already. The way I filmed it, I can't get rid of it. It is what it is. Hit that sub button. And again, we'll be live tomorrow. Giveaways, fun times with football finally back for your Dallas Cowboys.